started, I have to ask because obviously we start this off. We know that Noah and Emma are in a bit of a space as far as their marriage and relationships. But before we get into that, I want to know what is something that would make you curious enough to go on an adventure like this? Like, what kind of clue could you find that would keep you taking these steps or getting involved into something like this?
Like me, like Will?
Like you will, yeah.
Nothing. I'm black. I'm like
I
I'm
mean,
staying
I feel
home.
that,
Yeah, like no, I'm
but
we ain't having adventure time like that. No, I'm not. I'm leaving stuff alone.
you're leaving stuff alone. So, but there's nothing that would make you curious, like, I wonder how that turned out, or that you just maybe would want to see one step. Maybe not go as far as, yeah, let's go on this adventure, but
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely be curious, but I would definitely be checking in from home on my phone, like looking at Twitter, like, did they figure that out yet? Like that would be about it. Like, we ain't doing adventure
that's as
time.
close to it as you get.
Yeah.
So going back to Noah and Emma for a second, they are at a point, sort of, which some relationships it happens. You've been together for a while, and for whatever reason, the spark isn't there anymore, and you're trying to reconnect. Do you think that love can be reconnected, or do you think that you fall in love with the person again where they're at? Because you hope that you grow together in a relationship, but sometimes you don't.
I feel like people change, they go through phases, and when people are in those phases, if they're together, if one person's in a phase rather, then maybe when one person is in a certain phase, maybe the other person isn't. I won't say that you're out of love, but the spark might sort of fizzle, or there might be some tension that might make it feel like more work than a relief, or um, it could feel less fulfilling in certain ways and whatever. But um, I do think that it's like you make a commitment to be with somebody and to deal with all of those phases, and to like you are two individuals that have different wants, different needs, different urges, um, and habits. And I think you're supposed to. I think it's worthwhile to try to weather those as much as you can. And so like I think that I don't know if it's necessarily that you can like reconnect it. I think it is probably the thing that you're talking about, where it's like you rediscover the love that you have for that person in this new place. You fall in love with this new thing. Because probably, I don't know, I wonder if at the core, like there's something that is constant that you are essentially drawn to. And then these other things sort of, are piled on top of it. And then they may fall away, or you may come to love those things as well. And so I think that's what it is. But I think trying to go back to the thing that was, uh, I feel like I feel like that's a little tricky, because people change and grow, over the course of some years.
So, in sticking with that theme, do you think that Noah and Emma at this point are just distracted by the adventure? Or do you think that they're reconnecting and finding the elements that connected them to begin with?
I I think for Noah, he's definitely diving in, hoping that it will. He's hoping that, like, if I'm this person right now, we'll find that spark again. I see once she finds the phone, once she is involved in the mystery, like she turns on. I see the fire again, and it's like, okay, well, if I join in on this, maybe we can ride that wave on out of this rut. So I don't think it's. I think in the back of his mind, he's always thinking like, this is what she needs me to be right now, and it seems to. I'm seeing her come alive again. So like that's what this is about. The mystery is really about her and trying to be the person she needs me to be, and hoping that that fixes things. For Emma, I'm curious if she is just distracted by the mystery, and that's that's all she's really thinking about. I think that, the relationship and where they're at and the rut and trying to kind of get out of that. I know for Noah, that's what this going along with any of this, it's all about that. It's all about her.
So, as we've gone through the course of this, we've met some interesting characters, some mysterious characters. For you personally, who that we meet while we're in Tulum and Cancun, aside from Emma and Noah, is the most interesting kind of character or backstory to explore?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a weird toss up. I mean, there's Alex, the resort owner, who's on some other thing that, and then there's Ian Ibarra, who who is just like, in his little hutch, is just, being a recluse and making up his own language. There's Balthazar, who's, like this comes from this powerful family, and and then there's it's like it's I don't know. I mean, like I guess maybe if I'm really having to, oh, Luna, who we don't know what her deal is,
Yeah.
for the longest time. I think that maybe it's like everyone is sort of in this place in their life where it was better 15 years ago. Like they were happier then. Um and and so I think that maybe like when you see the old Oceana Vista resort and seeing how happy everyone was and how wild everything was for everyone, it's like to see people sort of in their fullest. Those are really interesting characters. So like in that way, it's like, Balthazar and Luna are really interesting to me, just because it's like there's a part of them there's a door in them that's been shut as they've gotten older, which I think kind of happens with people. It's definitely happened to me as I've gotten older.
So, do you think that in describing this series, would you describe it more as a love story with some mystery elements, or a mystery with a love story that's kind of mixed in there?
Oh man, I would probably say it's more like Jurassic Park meets Blue Valentine. It's like this. It's a wild adventure, and yeah, it's a mystery as well. But it's like it's also kind of a sticky relationship story. Where it's just kind of, granted, it's not over dark, but it's more like these people that are in a rut. They're, where things aren't good, but nothing's really wrong either, which feels relatable to me. I feel like a lot of relationships kind of that happens. I feel like that's pretty common, where it's like I don't want to end this thing, but because nothing's really wrong, but I'm also not fulfilled in it either. And so I feel like that's how I would describe it. I think it straddles so many genres, that I have no idea how to categorize it. And yeah, I think that's one of the things that sort of drew me to it. I was like, I don't really know what this is. I don't know if it's mostly a mystery, mostly a comedy, mostly an adventure, mostly a relationship drama. Like I really don't know which one it is, but it is like a sort of a weird mashup of goofy stuff and stuff that feels a little bit more like, grown folks relationship stuff.
So, is this a new era in your career where you're feeling more leading man romantic interest along with your comedy? Because it seems to be a lot of projects lately. We've looked at your, well, not your William, but the characters that you're playing. There is an emphasis on love, more so maybe than maybe some other roles before.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I'm just like wherever the scenes are interesting to play, that's where I want to be. Um, Honestly, leaning into romance as a genre is, like, as a viewer, not my jam. I don't ever watch anything with romance and love in it, like, on purpose. You know?
Ever?
No, no,
Ever?
no,
Wow.
I never do. I don't pick it. I don't pick that. Um, and so it's interesting for me because I'm like, I'm a notoriously unromantic dude and really kind of unsentimental and not very earnest in a lot of ways. And so so that's a thing that I'm trying to, it's odd to find myself in this sort of space where I'm playing those kinds of parts. But it's like there's also so many other things in those roles that aren't just that, which that's what I get drawn to. Um, Not to say that I hate doing those scenes or doing those kinds of parts. It's just like it's not my go-to when it comes to the sort of stuff that I'm like sort of longing to play. It's like the stuff I'm longing to play is probably a little bit darker and a little bit more cynical and uh yeah, and maybe kind of mean in certain
Oh,
ways.
so we can see a villain turn. We're gonna see your heel turn coming up shortly,
I
and
hope so. I mean, I'd love to do that. I mean, that's my jam.
that's what you love?
I love that. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. The dark side. Is that because you're so nice in real life that you get to explore the darker parts that maybe you don't get to delve into on a day-to-day or what have you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, yeah. I mean, look, you got to get up early to be evil. Like it takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy, and I don't have time for that. As just a human. I don't have time. But I do enjoy getting to explore some of the darker aspects of myself a little bit, and the sort of play against maybe, I guess, the persona I have in the industry, which is kind of a nice guy, and it's like I'm as nice as a human is, but I'm also a dirt bag and full of trash, at the same time as other people are, and so it's like just wanting to um sort of exercise some of that and let some of that out too is would be nice.
Got it. Okay, so we have the finale for season 1 coming up soon. If you were to give a viewer a tease of how this is all gonna turn out or expect the unexpected, who would you tell them to pay especially close attention to in the finale? Like,
Mm.
is there a character or that they should follow or look at for the surprise? Not necessarily the surprise. I'm trying to speak this without giving too much of you
Yeah, yeah. Huh. That is a really good question. Um, it's like I feel like really pay attention to Baltazar and uh and Murray. Like really, it's like it's there's a lot that kind of unfolds in the relationship as we sort of near the end, and some questions get answered and stuff like that. So but it's such a ride that it's like it's hard to say that that would really unlock anything for anybody. It's just I think that they're sort of going back in a way and grabbing things that I'm sure that the audience is curious about, whereas you know Emma and Noah are very much on the track that they've been on.
So, should season 2 arise,
Uh,
what type of direction would you like to see Emma and Noah go in or situations? They could be our own Remington Steele, what would Willis and Sybil Shepherd's characters moonlighting. That's
oh
what
yeah,
we could start that type of thing. Would this be something that you could see them sort of venturing off in a season 2? Or do you think that it would need to perhaps maybe go in another direction?
I don't know. I mean, we definitely had jokes on set about like if we got a season two, like what would that look like and what would that be? But I honestly am interested in like just a completely different story, and we all come back as different characters, and we all just like it's like sort of a weird anthology thing where we're all playing something completely different.
With
Uh,
you as the villain.
with me as the villain, yeah. Um, And the interesting thing about this is that there are, I feel like in this show there is no real villain. Like if there's
Yeah.
any villain, it's, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's no real villain. There's just things that exist, and the human's proximity to it and how we judge it makes it bad or good. Not necessarily the thing itself is not malevolent or benevolent in any way. So it's like, yeah, but I mean, like if we do a second season and we all come back as it's the same cast, just wearing different hats and mustaches and stuff, that would be dope.